Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the single thing ruining your progress, stealing your peace, and keeping you stuck isn't your circumstances? It's your worry. Now think about this. Have you ever lain awake at night, rehearsing problems that haven't even happened yet? Have you felt paralyzed by fear, spinning stories in your head, while life quietly passes you by? Here's the truth. The moment you stop worrying is the moment life starts working. And if that feels impossible right now, you need this talk more than anyone else. Because what you're about to hear isn't just inspiration, it's a strategy to reclaim your life. Worry is not just a fleeting emotion, it's a pattern, a loop, a self-made prison of thought that keeps repeating itself until we begin to mistake it for truth. But let's be very clear, worry is not truth. It is imagination misused. It is the future distorted by fear, projected onto the present moment. Most of us spend our lives reacting to thoughts that haven't happened yet. We walk around with tension in our bodies, conversations rehearsed in our heads, outcomes we dread playing on a loop like a broken record, and we call this being prepared. We convince ourselves that if we worry about something enough, we'll somehow be ready for it, or maybe even prevent it altogether. But when you take a step back, you'll realize worry doesn't solve anything. It only feels like it does. That's the trap. Worry gives you a false sense of control. It tricks you into believing that constant mental rehearsal is the same thing as action, but it's not. Worry is like running on a treadmill, thinking you're traveling somewhere, when really you're just burning yourself out in one place. What's more, while you're lost in these mental loops, life continues to move. Time continues to pass. Opportunities quietly slip by while you're too consumed by what might happen instead of engaging with what is happening. That's the cost of worry, your presence, your energy, your connection to now. When your mind is always racing toward potential disasters, what chance do you have to notice the beauty right in front of you? When you're constantly solving problems that haven't happened yet, how can you respond to what's truly needed in the moment? Worry takes your attention hostage and ransoms it for peace. But here's the secret. You don't need to buy peace from fear. Peace already exists in the absence of that fear, in the stillness that comes when you let go. And no, this doesn't mean that real problems don't exist. Of course they do. Life will always involve uncertainty, difficulty, even pain. But worry is not how we prepare for it. Worry is what we do when we don't trust ourselves to handle what's coming. Real preparation is rooted in presence, in being grounded, alert, and ready to respond, not react. There's a difference. Reaction is born of fear. Response is born of awareness. And you can't access awareness when your mind is cluttered with anxious projections. Worry also thrives on the idea that you're alone, that no one understands what you're going through, and that it's all on your shoulders. But again, that's the illusion. The more you stay trapped in your head, the less you realize how much support, possibility, and clarity actually surround you. So how do we begin to step out of this trap? First, by noticing it. Catch yourself in the act of worrying, not with judgment, just with awareness. Observe how your mind loops around the same stories. Notice how your body responds, the tightness in your chest, the restlessness, the shallow breath. Then, gently bring yourself back to now. Ask yourself, what is actually happening right now? What can I do in this moment? Even if the answer is nothing, that is still powerful, because now you're not wasting energy on a fantasy. You're grounded in reality, and that's where all change begins. Life does not unfold in the future. It unfolds now, and worry is what blocks that unfolding. If you can learn to step back from the noise, to breathe, to become still, to witness your thoughts without getting dragged into them, you begin to reclaim your freedom. You begin to move again. You begin to live again, because worry doesn't stop the bad things from happening. It just stops you from enjoying the good things while they're here. And when you understand that, you stop feeding the trap, you stop worrying, and that's when life finally starts working, Let me know if you'd like the next keynote expanded too. In our fast-paced world, noise surrounds us constantly, not just the sounds around us, but the relentless chatter inside our minds. This mental noise is often fueled by worry, anxiety, and 1,000 what-ifs that never seem to settle. We live in a culture that prizes action, hustle, and productivity, so stillness can feel almost unnatural, even wasteful. But the truth is, clarity does not come from noise or frantic movement. It comes from stillness. Stillness is the space where the mind can pause its endless spinning and begin to see clearly. Imagine a pond. When the water is stirred up by wind or movement, everything looks muddy, distorted, unclear. But when the water settles, the surface becomes calm and reflective. Suddenly, you can see to the bottom, see what's really there. This is what stillness does for the mind. When we stop worrying, that is, when we stop pouring energy into anxious thoughts about the future or regrets about the past, we create the mental calm necessary for clarity to emerge. It is in this calm that insight, creativity, and solutions to our problems begin to arise naturally. Worry acts like a loud storm inside the head, drowning out our ability to think clearly. It narrows our focus to danger and what could go wrong, which makes us miss the opportunities and answers present in the moment. It's hard to solve a problem when your brain is shouting chaos at you. Stillness is often mistaken for passivity or doing nothing, but in reality, it is a form of active presence, an intentional choice to step back from the constant noise and allow space for deeper understanding to unfold. It's the pause between breaths, the quiet moment before speaking, the calm observation rather than the immediate reaction. When we cultivate stillness, we begin to reconnect with a deeper part of ourselves, a part that is wise, intuitive, and grounded. This is where real problem solving comes from, not from frantic thinking, but from thoughtful reflection and presence. In practical terms, stillness can take many forms. It might be meditation, a quiet walk in nature, mindful breathing, or simply sitting in silence for a few moments each day. These practices help us interrupt the cycle of worry and reset the mind's default state from stress to calm. It's in these moments of stillness that life often delivers its most profound answers. When we stop forcing solutions or trying to control every outcome, we open ourselves to creativity and insight that were always there but hidden beneath the noise of our anxious thoughts. Think about times in your own life when you've experienced a breakthrough. Maybe the answer came during a shower, a walk, or just after a deep breath. This is no coincidence. Your brain needs space to reorganize and integrate information. Stillness creates that space. Furthermore, clarity through stillness fosters a greater sense of confidence and trust. When your mind is calm, you are less likely to be swayed by fear or doubt. You can see your situation more objectively, weighing your options without the distortion of panic. This helps you make decisions that are aligned with your true needs and values, rather than reactions born of worry. Stillness also deepens your connection to the present moment. Worry pulls you into the future, often to scenarios that may never happen. But clarity comes when you anchor yourself in now. When you do this, life starts to reveal its natural rhythm and flow, and you begin to move through challenges with greater ease. It's important to remember that stillness is not always comfortable at first. When the mind is used to constant busyness and noise, sitting quietly with your thoughts can bring up discomfort or restlessness. This is natural. The key is to practice stillness with patience and kindness toward yourself. Over time, the discomfort fades and the rewards of clarity become more accessible. Ultimately, the message is clear. Stop trying to solve everything with noise and frantic energy. Stop letting worry drown out your ability to see clearly. Instead, create moments of stillness in your life. Let the storm inside settle. Trust that when you do, the answers will come. Life begins to work when you give yourself the grace to pause, when you stop fighting the chaos and start inviting calm. When you choose presence over panic, clarity only comes through stillness, and when you finally stop the noise of worry, you open the door for life's solutions to walk right in. One of the most challenging truths to accept in life is that we cannot control everything. No matter how much we plan, prepare, or worry, certain things are simply beyond our influence. Weather changes, other people's choices unfold in unpredictable ways, unexpected events occur. The world is complex, uncertain, and constantly shifting. Trying to hold on tightly to control over every detail is like trying to grasp water with your hands. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. Yet, despite this reality, many of us live as if control is not only possible, but necessary. We believe that if only we could plan better, prepare more, or anticipate every outcome, we would be safe, secure, and successful. This belief fuels worry and anxiety, because when control inevitably slips away, fear rushes in to fill the gap. The problem is, this illusion of control often leads us away from what truly matters: how we respond to the circumstances we face. Here's the profound insight. While you may not be able to control what happens, you always have control over your response. This simple idea is liberating. It shifts your focus from the impossible task of managing external events to the powerful task of managing your inner world. And this is where your real power lies. Controlling your response means choosing how you react emotionally, mentally, and behaviorally when life throws challenges at you. It means deciding whether to succumb to fear, anger, or despair, or whether to meet adversity with calmness, clarity, and courage. This choice is not always easy. In the heat of the moment, it can feel like your emotions are a tidal wave crashing through your mind. But with practice, you develop the ability to pause, to breathe, and to choose your response instead of being swept away by automatic reactions. This control over your response transforms worry into wisdom. Instead of wasting energy trying to prevent things you can't change, you invest your energy in what you can influence: your attitude, your mindset, your actions. When you accept that you cannot control everything, you stop fighting reality and begin to work with it. You stop resisting change and start adapting. You stop blaming circumstances or others and start taking responsibility for your own growth and peace of mind. This shift in perspective also reduces anxiety because it grounds you in the present moment. Worry often drags you into future scenarios filled with what-ifs, many of which may never happen. But your response happens now, in this moment. It's an anchor to the present. Moreover, controlling your response empowers resilience. Resilience is not about avoiding hardship. It's about bouncing back from it. The way you respond determines whether difficulties break you down or build you up. People who have faced tremendous challenges often credit their strength to this very control, the ability to respond with grace, patience, and hope despite circumstances beyond their control. Choosing your response also allows you to maintain your integrity and align your actions with your values. When you react impulsively out of worry or fear, you may say or do things that don't reflect who you truly want to be. But when you respond consciously, you act in ways that honor your principles and move you toward your goals. It's important to realize that controlling your response does not mean suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine. It means acknowledging your feelings honestly, but deciding how you will let those feelings guide you. It means feeling fear, but not letting fear decide your actions. In fact, when you accept responsibility for your responses, you gain greater freedom and peace. You become less of a victim to external events and more of a creator of your experience. This doesn't mean you won't face hardships or moments of doubt. It means that even in those moments, you hold the key to your mindset. And that key can unlock calm, clarity, and progress even when the world around you feels uncertain. So, the next time worry starts to creep in, remind yourself, you may not control what happens around you. You cannot stop the winds of change or predict every outcome, but you can control how you respond. You can choose calm over panic, hope over despair, action over paralysis. In that choice lies your true power. Because life doesn't require you to be perfect or in control of every detail, it only requires you to show up, respond with intention, and keep moving forward. When you embrace this, you stop worrying about what you can't change and start focusing on the one thing you truly can, your response. And that's when life starts working. Worry often masquerades as preparation. It feels like the responsible thing to do, going over every possible outcome, rehearsing what might go wrong, trying to anticipate challenges before they happen. On the surface, it seems like a way to get ready, to stay safe, and to be in control, but the reality is quite different. Worry is not preparation. It's a form of procrastination that quietly drains your energy, clouds your judgment, and keeps you from taking real, effective action. When we worry, we're stuck in the realm of what if, spinning endless scenarios in our heads about possible dangers, failures, or mistakes. The mind becomes hyper, focused on problems that have not yet appeared and often never will. This mental rehearsal feels productive, but it is actually a kind of avoidance. Instead of facing the real tasks at hand or taking concrete steps forward, worry keeps us locked in a cycle of inaction. True preparation requires action. It means gathering information, making plans, practicing skills, and setting intentions. It involves doing the work necessary to move forward despite uncertainty. Worry, in contrast, is thinking without doing. It's a substitute for action that leaves you stuck and exhausted. One of the reasons worry feels so consuming is because it uses the same mental resources that action requires: your attention, your focus, your energy. When you spend hours mentally running through disasters, your brain becomes fatigued. Your ability to think clearly diminishes. Your motivation wanes. The more you worry, the less equipped you are to actually prepare. This is why worry can be so paralyzing. It tricks you into feeling busy and productive, while in truth you're standing still. You may feel overwhelmed, anxious, or exhausted, but not because of the tasks you need to do. It's because you're carrying the heavy burden of imagined problems instead of tackling real ones. The irony is that worry often leaves you less prepared than if you had done nothing at all. If you channel even a fraction of the energy spent worrying into small, focused actions, you build momentum. You gain clarity, you learn and adjust as you go. Action creates progress, worry only creates doubt. Another important aspect to understand is that worry magnifies problems out of proportion. It exaggerates threats and paints worst-case scenarios in vivid detail. This distortion makes problems feel bigger and more overwhelming than they really are, which in turn increases fear and avoidance. Preparation, on the other hand, is grounded in reality. It assesses the situation honestly and plans accordingly. To break free from this pattern, it helps to reframe worry as a signal rather than a solution. When you notice yourself worrying, see it as a red flag indicating that there's something important you might need to address. Instead of letting worry spiral out of control, ask yourself, what can I do right now to move forward? What's one concrete step I can take? Even small actions can disrupt the cycle of worry and procrastination. Making a list, setting a timer to focus on one task, reaching out for help, or simply organizing your thoughts can build momentum. These steps transform worry into preparation because they move you from passive rumination to active engagement. It's also valuable to recognize that preparation doesn't mean perfection or complete certainty. No one can predict or control every variable. The goal is progress, not perfection. Preparing means showing up with intention, doing what you can with the information and resources available, and being ready to adapt as life unfolds. When you shift from worry to preparation, you reclaim your energy and your clarity. Your mind becomes a tool for problem solving instead of a source of anxiety. Your actions, no matter how small, create forward motion and build confidence. Worry can feel like a safety net, but it's actually a trap. It keeps you tethered to fear and uncertainty, preventing you from taking the very steps that would move you closer to your goals. By recognizing worry for what it truly is, a form of procrastination, you can choose a different path. That path is preparation through action. It's about focusing on what you can control, doing what's within your power, and trusting yourself enough to take imperfect steps forward. When you do this, the fog of worry lifts and clarity shines through. You find that the problems you feared are manageable, that you have the strength to face challenges, and that life begins to unfold in ways you couldn't see when trapped in worry. In the end, the difference between worry and preparation is the difference between standing still and moving forward. Choose to prepare, not to worry. Your energy, your peace of mind, and your life depend on it. If you want, I can continue with the 5th keynote next. Letting go of worry is often misunderstood. Many people hear "stop worrying" and think it means to become indifferent or careless, to shrug off responsibility and stop caring about the outcomes that matter. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Letting go of worry does not mean apathy. In fact, it requires a much deeper level of trust, discipline, and presence. Worry feels like caring because it is intense and consuming. When you worry, you feel like you're paying close attention to a problem or risk. You feel alert, vigilant, maybe even proactive, but in reality, worry is a kind of false caring, a confusing of anxiety with action. It may make you feel busy, but it doesn't lead to constructive outcomes. It often makes you exhausted, stuck, and disconnected. True caring, by contrast, is calm and grounded. It's not frantic or overwhelmed. It is focused and deliberate. It's about channeling your energy where it counts into actions, decisions, and attitudes that truly move things forward. This requires trust. Trust that worrying endlessly won't solve the problem, but your clear, present attention and thoughtful action will. Trust is the foundation of letting go of worry. Trust in yourself, in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Trust in the natural unfolding of life, even when it feels uncertain. Trust that when you do your part, things will work out as they should. This trust is not blind optimism. It's a practical faith born from experience and self-awareness. Letting go of worry also demands discipline to recognize when your mind is slipping into anxious loops and to gently guide it back to focus. Discipline to create habits that support calmness, such as meditation, journaling, or mindful breathing. Discipline to take action despite uncertainty, rather than waiting for perfect conditions that may never come. This discipline is an active practice. It's not about suppressing feelings or pretending everything is fine. It's about managing your mental and emotional state with intention. When worry arises, discipline helps you notice it without getting overwhelmed. It helps you decide what's useful and what's not, and then release the rest. Presence is the 3rd pillar of letting go of worry. Being present means fully engaging with the moment you're in, rather than getting lost in fears about the future or regrets about the past. Presence grounds you in reality, helping you see what's actually happening rather than what your worries tell you might happen. When you are present, you become more aware of your thoughts and feelings without being controlled by them. This awareness creates space to respond rather than react, to choose calm over panic, to move forward with clarity instead of hesitation. Presence also connects you to your body and breath. which are powerful anchors during moments of anxiety. Instead of escaping into worry, you come back to your physical experience, calming your nervous system and restoring balance. Importantly, letting go of worry through trust, discipline, and presence doesn't mean you become passive or disengaged. It means you become more effective. You conserve your energy for what truly matters. You make better decisions. You cultivate resilience, patience, and courage. This approach transforms your relationship with uncertainty. Instead of fearing it, you learn to work with it. You understand that life is unpredictable, but that unpredictability also carries opportunity, growth, and learning. You become comfortable with not having all the answers and more willing to explore, experiment, and adapt. Letting go of worry is a powerful form of self-care. It protects your mental health and preserves your creativity. It helps you show up as your best self for the people and goals that matter to you. It frees you from the exhausting cycle of fear and hesitation. In practice, letting go of worry might look like this. When a difficult situation arises, instead of spiraling into anxiety, you take a deep breath, acknowledge your feelings, remind yourself of what you can control, and commit to one positive step. You trust that this step, however small, will move you forward. You return your focus to the present moment and face the challenge with openness. This is not easy. It takes courage and consistent effort. But the rewards are immense peace of mind, increased clarity, and a deeper sense of freedom. You are no longer a prisoner of your worries. Instead, you become the calm center in the storm. So remember, letting go of worry is not about giving up or ignoring your responsibilities. It's about embracing trust, cultivating discipline, and practicing presence. When you do this, worry loses its power. Life begins to work, and you step into a fuller, richer experience of being alive. Peace is something many of us chase, often imagining it as a distant destination, a place we will arrive at once all our problems are solved, once the future is certain, or once everything is finally under control. But this idea is a misconception. True peace doesn't come from eliminating uncertainty. It begins when you stop fighting against the natural ebb and flow of life and start embracing it exactly as it comes. Uncertainty is an inherent part of existence. From the moment we are born, life unfolds in ways we cannot fully predict or control. Weather changes, relationships evolve, health fluctuates, opportunities appear and disappear, all without our permission or forewarning. Trying to resist this reality, to demand guarantees or permanent security, only creates tension and suffering. When you fight uncertainty, you put yourself in a state of constant resistance. Your mind tightens, your body tenses, and your emotions churn in a cycle of fear, frustration, and anxiety. This fight is exhausting because it's a battle against life itself, a force that is always moving, always changing. Peace, on the other hand, is found in surrender, not surrender in the sense of giving up or being passive, but surrender as acceptance. Acceptance of what is, without the added weight of resistance or denial. It's the willingness to say, I may not know what comes next, but I can meet it with openness. Embracing life as it comes means allowing yourself to experience the full spectrum of emotions and events without trying to control or push them away. It means recognizing that joy and sorrow, certainty and doubt, success and failure are all part of the human experience. When you stop labeling uncertainty as the enemy, it loses its power to paralyze you. This shift in mindset is deeply freeing. Instead of being caught in a tug-of-war with the unknown, you begin to flow with life's rhythms. You develop resilience because you are no longer dependent on specific outcomes to feel safe or happy. Instead, your stability comes from within, from a deep sense of trust and presence. This doesn't mean you become careless or stop planning. It means that while you do your best to prepare and take action, you remain flexible and open to change. You understand that no plan is perfect and that life may take unexpected turns, and that's okay. You meet challenges not as obstacles to control, but as opportunities to learn and grow. Embracing uncertainty also invites curiosity and creativity. When you're not fixated on rigid expectations, you're free to explore new paths, adapt to new information, and innovate solutions you might never have imagined. Life becomes less about defending yourself against the unknown and more about engaging with it as an unfolding adventure. This attitude requires practice. It involves cultivating mindfulness, the ability to be fully present without judgment. When you notice your mind racing ahead to what-if scenarios or clinging to what should be, gently bring yourself back to the present moment. Anchor yourself in your breath, your senses, or the simple reality of now. As you practice this acceptance, you'll find that peace is not something you chase after, but something that grows naturally. It grows as the grip of resistance loosens and you open to life's unpredictability with grace. Many spiritual traditions call this surrender or faith. They teach that peace is a state of being that arises when we let go of the illusion of control and trust the flow of existence. It's not about ignoring problems, but about facing them with calm courage and clear eyes. When peace begins in this way, it changes how you experience everything. Fear loses its edge, anxiety softens. You become more patient with yourself and others. You begin to see that life, in all its uncertainty, is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. The paradox is that by embracing uncertainty, you gain more control over your inner world. You are no longer tossed by every wave of doubt or fear. Instead, you become the steady presence that can navigate any storm. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by the unknown, remember, peace is already here. It's waiting for you on the other side of resistance. It's ready to bloom when you stop fighting and start embracing life as it comes. Life is unpredictable, messy, and beautiful. When you stop worrying about what you cannot control and accept it fully, you free yourself to live deeply, fully, and with true peace.